Hello everybody and welcome back to Strategy Saturday. This is Suzerain. Now I'm trying to remember where we left off. We just had the attack on the capital that left the PM dead, or a minister dead. Then we were having a lot of talking about like actions that are going in and out of the country that's causing us a lot of issues, and I also was being cautious on declaring war on anyone because I remember one of the countries around me was like funding an extremist group or something, but that's all I remember. I mean, I'm sure that there's other things, but I can't. It's been a week. I usually record these weekly. I should record batch episodes, but it's kind of hard. But that's neither here nor there. But hopefully you'll enjoy it. Let's hop right in. Thank you so much for watching. I want to check the news real fast. Yeah, who was shot dead? Knew that. You sort of the two path of the future, blah blah blah. Did that, only way out of the recession. I don't agree with that. Murder was method path. Yep. Passed. Farewell. Yep. And use drive further decentralized power. I want the workers to be empowered because I grew up in a union home, and I know that if you support the middle class is good. Sees a wardrobe full of heavy military equipment. Currently too understaffed. Security raid, police, blah blah blah. Illegal firearms. Was accountability. His base had been raided and he was found dead inside with 2 bullet wounds at the back of the head. A bomb was almost set off. Then you had trade issues. You had traders, and then you got dam is about to blow up or fall apart, and you got the police overburden. Oh my god, there's so many things. Okay. Security briefing. Okay, so I'm gonna cut this part out since we already saw this part. I'm gonna try and remember my answers were before because I don't remember. So we will, because I remember that there's a 2-part to this one. There's the the internal and then the external. So I'm gonna cut up the internal and I'll be right back. All right, upon invitation, we are back, and I'm gonna pick up here. Upon invitation, Isif Lasia, along with 3 high-ranking officials from the Ministry of Defense, walked into the room. One man was none other than General Kruger, the Chief of Armed Forces. Isaf made his way towards the table while the others stood by the door. Mr. President. Isaf, welcome. I brought General Kruger with me due to the escalation on our borders. General Kruger stepped forward and saluted. He had a strong jaw with sharp cheekbones. His tall stature, uniform, and medals combined with his deep and intense stare made him look threatening. He was in his 70s, yet he had a bulky body that was the result of his commando training. Not only was he the 2nd most decorated officer in Swordland, he was also the longest serving. Shake his hand. The handshake was firm, strong, and confident. Isaf tapped his foot impatiently. He seemed uneasy with the presence of another high-ranking officer in the room. Gentlemen, thanks for coming to this significant gathering. Let's begin. Isaf and Vulcan took their seat at the table while the rest of the officers stood by the door. Mr. President, the situation at the western and northern borders towards Rumburg is very intense. We are observing deployment of the division closer to our border. I wasn't expecting to fly over here. Rumburg has been acting increasingly expansionist in the past decades and also interfered in Angola, but now they have turned their sights on us. What's our current strategy? Patrolling close to the borders with our border force and keeping Army Reserve divisions near. It seems they want to increase the pressure both externally and internally. Mr. President, if I may. Please, General. The picture is becoming clear. The latest information from the interior about the weapon caches, and now there are active military buildup close to our borders. The entire situation was analyzed by our general staff, and our prediction is a future territorial incursion by Rumburg. I have complete trust in the general staff. We will not let you down. The general staff is composed of the smartest military. We require an increase in military budget to enlist more soldiers. Only then we can stand strong against our enemies. Then large armed forces will hold them at bay. Vulcan is right. We do need to increase the military budget, although we don't see eye to eye on exactly how to spend the budget. That much we agree on. I have my concerns about Rumburg too. We need strong allies to withstand such a superior power. They are our nemesis. That is an understatement. Times are changing and war is coming, Mr. President, whether we like it or not. We must be prepared. During the election, you said nothing about focusing on. I asked you to reconsider increase the military budget. The future and safety of Switzerland's in your hands. Let's see. I'm a man. That is a valuable trait, however, it will not help you. I mean, our forces would crumble under a decrease, and Rumburg would be much more compelled to exploit our weakness. Our country hasn't fallen to any invading force in 200 years. You cannot let this happen. We should find regional allies like to deter. There are several options. Wouldn't attack. One shudders at the sacrifice they would require us to make. Yes, but what difference between losing your independence to one or the other? When a soldier entered the room and let know that the call had come through from the ministry. Excuse me. He left the room to answer. A few minutes later, his expression had changed. There has been Rumburgian military activity close to the Nobel boulder. I just spoke with the local commander. Vulcan, we should go to the ministry and get further updates from our branches. Understood. Raising military readiness is the first call of action. If there's truly an extraordinarily attempt, we will relay it to you immediately and wait further orders, Mr. President. Make sure they are observant and ready. Always watching, always ready is our motto, sir. Hail Switzerland, hail. They saluted and left the room. Rumburg was already testing us, and reports from the interior indicate interference inside our borders. Communist, nationalists. Rumburg, what was next? Berlin has always been a key piece in the chessboard of the global rivalry between Arcasia and United Cantona, but in the recent years there was no such aggression from Rumburg, not at these levels at least. All it takes is one tiny spark to start the flames of war. The phone rang. Rumburg has decided to close their consulate in Levitchen? I don't know how you pronounce that. Oh, Jesus. Alright, how do I move? I forgot how to move mouse. There's a way too much happening over here. Well, where am I? I'm over here. Alright. Read the report. Rise of locondalism in rural areas. A minor religious branch. I mean, I don't care. Develops first ice intercontinental ballista. Oh, that's not good. Help protesters. Rise of rural areas. Yep. Okay, we already read all that. That's pretty big. We need to upgrade our military is what we need to do. The country is currently by the violent events. Oh boy. Well, I seem to have gotten in myself quite the pickle. Rumors of an infrastructure anonymous source had reported inside the federal government had invited after this great news. It's like we hope that very qualified like underhaul construction. Once again, number one. Younger. Oh. In the area affiliated with gang, Cornelia was a reckless and victim was shot right before she was returning home. A man who witnessed the event told the police the shooter yelled gang close the street before he heard someone fire at least 10 shots. Sources said he later saw the victim being hit and called the authorities. Our sources report. Oh my God. Real truth behind. Blah blah blah. There, clash. What? I need to freaking. Rumburg closes console. Rumburg has closed down one of the few. This comes right after the deployment. Oh boy. Yep. Stagnant right now. At least we're not on the downward spiral anymore. So I mean that's a plus. Okay, let's have dinner. After a long day at the palace, I was finally home. I thanked Serge and walked through the front gates, nodding at the two guards as I went by. Even as I turned the doorknob, I could hear Dina rushing down the stairs to greet me. I opened the door, and there she was, standing in front of me with expectant eyes. Papa, you're home. I lifted Dina up and hugged her while trying to put the keys in the tray next to the entrance. She was growing fast. Lifting her up was no longer as easy as it once was. How was school? Boring. I liked my old school better. I put her down and her expression turned serious. Papa, are the bad men gone? It was only one bad man, and yes, he's gone now. Okay. He dashed down the hallway. Mama, Papa's here. Monica appeared on the next to the kitchen door. She was wearing an apron and holding a spatula in her hand. What did I tell you? No running in the house. Yes. Monica approached me and kissed me on the cheek. A tantalizing smell wafted from the kitchen behind her. Darling, you shouldn't have. What do we have a cook for? I felt like going grocery shopping just like old times. And besides, she can't make your favorite like I can. You mean? Yes, zabla. Zabla was one of my hometown specialties. A chickpea stew topped with beef braced and tomatoes and Burgundian spices, traditionally served in a clay pot. It was absolutely my favorite dish, especially paired with Kabiji, a potent unfiltered wine from my region. Oh, it's my lucky day. What's the occasion? No occasion. I just wanted to cheer everyone up a bit. Her smile faded and she lowered her voice so Dana wouldn't hear, especially after what happened at the ball. I'm worried, Anne, for you, for the children, and for the country. She appeared suddenly next to us. Mama. Yes? I'm hungry. We'll eat in just a minute. Will you help me set the table? Anton, can you tell Frank to come down for dinner? He's been sulking in his room all day. Monica started taking the plates while I headed upstairs to fetch my son. Loud rock and roll music echoed down the hallway from his room. I caught a faint hint of cigarette smoke. Now this is where I'm going to upset a lot of people. I'm going to knock on the door. As a fellow parent said, Timmy, I respect your privacy, but as your father, I'm coming in. There was no response. Knock on the door again. There was still no response. I don't really want to yell at him yet. I banged on the door. The stereo had clicked off. All right, all right. He'll knock and open the door. What do you want? Do I call him out on the cigarettes? Yes. You smoke, don't you? I'm old enough to do what I want. I'm just waiting for you. You decide, handed me the packet and head downstairs. It was prepared. Monica was leading food into plates. Come on, have a seat. It won't be tasty if it's cold. As the room went quiet. It was delicious as ever, but I had a feeling this wasn't the reason nobody spoke. Monica say, did you know that they refurbished a grocery store? I don't know if you remember the owner. He'd been there every day for the past 30 years. Can you imagine doing the same job for that long? What if you were president, for example? I don't want this country to suffer. 20 years of this, I'll be dead. I don't agree, that must never happen again. Anyway, the grocer, he threw in the snacks with my slammed his hand on the table, rattling the plates. Monica, Dina, and I stared at him. So this is how it's going to be. We're just going to sit here like nothing happened. Dad, you could have been killed. Mom, you could have been. Any one of us could have died. Dana's lower lip started trembling. Monica put her hand on Frank's shoulder. You know I would never. I know, but still, can you at least tell me if something's being done about this? It's real close, Ed. It was one rogue shooter. We were not even the target. But what if we were? Frank, listen, if your father says we don't need to worry, then we don't need to worry. You have to trust him. Monica turned to me. We all have to trust each other. Things calmed down a bit at the table. We finished our food in silence. Frank got up first and retreated back to his room. Monica lifted Dina up and plopped her in front of the living room TV before returning to the table. She sat down across from me. And he is still young. That's what worries me. I know, but there's not much longer. That's what worries me. You make plenty of rash decisions, and now Sue. Frank's not the only one who's scared at him. I worry too. Oh my god, I don't know. It's either 1 or 3. 1. Had I been lying to Frank? Was the threat to my family truly over? Time would tell. Oh my god, there's way too much stress in this. Okay, let's see. I like to read the reports before I read the report. Factions spotlights workers' rights, drawing international attention in the present issue of labor conditions. A faction, the Contanian security factors, these in the site report on workers' rights within its members as the Supreme Planet Economic, blah blah blah. Express condolences for circus. Thank you. All right. What news? Protests across Sortland. Protests erupt. Protests in Grooney. Political chaos. And unrest. Yep, there is lots of unrest everywhere. Okay. Well, this is where I make a break. Right here. Okay, the political station situation around the country has escalated. Chief strategist has prepared several action plans that we can execute. How will we address the political climate? Call for restraint. Visit affected towns in person. I don't really. Definitely not that one. Definitely not that one. I would like to do that one, but I don't want to cause more issues. Let's visit all the towns in person. President visit towns around the greater Holster and Grooney, which was heavily affected by the protesters and riots. He is seen talking to protesters. This sends a powerful that the government is walking among them and listening to their problems. Holster is desperately trying to restart economy after recession. This political unrest is not helping, said a Scottish scholar and professor. Yeah, I want to tell me if they can tell me what their issue is. I can work with them. Oh boy. It was late in the evening. The Maroon Palace was finally getting somewhat quiet when I returned to my office at the top. I eagerly approached my chair and sprawled out on it. It had been an exhausting day, just like every day since I took office. Just leaned back and relaxed for a second, stretched out my arms, leaned back in my chair, and took a deep breath. Whole sword skyline was daunting, but beautiful. I glanced downward at the window and saw Serge and the guards waiting for me by the main gate. I heard a couple of knocks at my door. My secretary, Livia Suno, entered. Mr. President, Mr. Tusk is here to see you. You had a meeting with the... I'm so sorry for not giving you proper notice. You had a meeting... I'm so sorry for not giving you... Don't worry about it. Thank you, friend. After swaggered into the room. I've met Solon's most prominent businessman once or twice, but never alone. He had large jowls, blindingly shiny shoes, and the air of someone who was used to get in his way. Anything to drink, Mr. Tusk? Water? Whiskey? Cognac? Preferably from before you were born, sweetheart. I'll check. Shoot me an apologetic look because she did so. Water hung up his hat, which I could see was lined with mink. He fixed me with long harsh hair, then broke into a toothy grin. Good evening, Mr. President. I am here to congratulate you. We both sat down. My business partner and I wish a successful term as the leader of our nation. Thank you, Mr. Tusk. I had no choice to say this at the ball with all the panic, but we were very much looking forward to working with you. Thank you. I'd like to build between us. That being said, there are some concerns of mine in the people I represent, which I would like to clear up. The people you represent? You know, I represent the Luthberg Group, Mr. President, but of course these concerns are not limited to them. The ruined state of the economy in Switzerland has influenced everyone. The recession has hit us hard. Walter pulled out a box of cigars from his pack. I had these brought from Lisbeth, the best cigars in the whole continent. Would you like to try one? Fine. I grabbed one. Now we are talking. A man who knows pleasure and business grabbed himself. We looked out the city scenery to both put away. You having a really good start of the term for sure, besides the recent troubles. But you decided to promote the free market, which is the only thing that can get us out of this mess. We had nothing but trouble so far. The ability of the free market to evolve is hard to dispute. I couldn't have said it better, or could I? We really think that there are many elements where our capital could be helped with the government. He grinned. The highway investment was a good call, but there was more to gain to the high-speed rail business logistics. That was in dire need of investments. The most important goal is to avert investments where the most profits can be made for the treasury. We can be close allies. The group can help you get Solon out of the reception, which will be the key problem to solve in your term and could determine your re-election. Soon the investment project contract will be awarded to one of the 3 main contenders. He pulled a check out of his pocket and slid it towards me on the table. My personal bank details were listed on the with a deposit of 500,000 ready to be checked. This was 6 months of the president's salary. If the contracts were somehow awarded to Underhog Construction, they would not only work harder and deliver, but also on time. What do you think? He put his index finger on the check. It was standing there holding a tray of bottles. I'm so sorry, Mr. I could only find a 1942. She quickly put the tray and walked out. Remind me to visit your house now. Where are we? Do we have a deal? Not yet. We both know you can do better than that amount. No, I will make, I don't want 1 or 4. No, I will make my own decision at the moment. So I put the check away, put in his, thank you for your visit nonetheless. It was good to share opinions. We will meet again in the future for sure. Oh, please tell it to Mr. Cartoni. He smiled. Have a good evening, Mr. President. Walter stood, grabbed his jacket, and made his way towards the door. He closed the door. Oh. Did you accept his offer? Of course I didn't. The other girls have told me that all dealing that went on during the... I wasn't sure if you were that kind of president. I most certainly am not. She and I took a moment to look at the lights of the city before heading into the elevators. Yeah, no, I don't take bribes. There's no bribery here. Alright. Oh, it's going back down. No, I don't want the down. Alright, what is this? Reports the situation on the borders getting at Rumburg Southern Army was sighted training close to our borders. Did not respond after we issued a radio message. Reports of increased patrolling duties. Warning over in a former general appellate issued a cautionary regarding the Grand Duke expressing over the intensified border dispute. One of our agents acting as a young member had an encounter with 2 members of the local police force. Great, so we have... Alright, what is this? What do I want to focus on? What do I want to... Alright. Foreign engineering salary is under scrutiny. Suggest expanding executive... I don't want to expand the executive powers. I want to give less calls for corporate responsibility. Reform and demands gain popularity. Workers' Party Solidarity March. I want... Okay, let us finalize the H3 contract. After a lengthy drive on the cliffside roads, we arrived in Lankford. Bare crowds of greeted us and local government official escorts. We were here for a significant meeting about the H3 project. Several construction companies couldn't make it due to his visit Riza, but I had at least, which is fine. Besides, this project will cut the time it takes to get here and road by half. More importantly, it will lead to improvements. I have lived with these people and seen them suffer. I trust your plan. I'm glad to hear that. We should be able to slow down the recession if we finish this project successfully. I look forward to a positive. According to my sources, we'll left many people out of property. Failure doing this project is not an option. Our account is set to failure is indeed not an option. Search for the documents and found one he was looking for. I have the overview of the companies here. He's handed the files. Okay. 3 corporations: Sword Estate, Underhall Construction, Taurus Holding. Review them. I took liberty asking the mayor to give his opinion. Which corporation? The respected, also known as the SSC, the main state corporation tasked with running the day-to-day construction services of our country. It's one of the most trusted and honorable. They have served us well. I have worked with them on several occasions. It goes against your election opponent who moving away. Uses resulting in slur. They do have a wealth of knowledge, though. According to, they would need more resources to finish a project this size. I want to hear the others. What is this one? The real estate construction giant was founded and expanded during the economic picked up that would fit our market economy policy. The mayor of contract, he sold half his shares a few years ago. The acceptance for them and left much to be desired. How was your experience with them? Out of the three, this is trust the least. They seem to fail at respecting the contract terms of their workers. They likely, I'm not too sure about trusting them with the contract, but at least they worked on several make project and always. Working conditions. I agree. The workers were, oh boy, with a clear violation of our laws. Tight competition in this at badly, which still doesn't justify the situation. Underhaul has specific mentioned their solid track record and highlight that they to go over budget with that product. I'm not sure about Underhaul construction. What about Taurus Holding? Owned by the holding the Western use cutting edge technology to reduce construction. Known to provide for the workers who are part of the labor union. Why should we pick? It would fit our election promises to switching or in contracts to privately owned. Internationally for being one of the fastest growing in advance. They were only involved this doesn't prove they're for larger that are more complex. The project manager mentioned that they would be able to finish with they're the only company who found the budget is it's cheaper. Definitely worth considering. Let's see. I can either do the SSC, lose 2 more budget. I'm not gonna do the underhaul. If I want to put my money where my mouth is, it's gonna have to be Taurus Holding. Good, we are staying consistent with Simon signed a certain section that fixes glasses. Very well, the contract will be awarded. I wish that was different, but at the end of the day, the success, the company will be notified, will begin. Good luck to us. Yeah, seriously. The grand opening will be happening late next year. I'd be back to thank you. Meeting ended and we spent the remainder of the day attending events in Lenkirk. It was nice to enjoy the natural beauty of England and eat some good fish. Okay. Let's hope that I did the right thing. I don't know. The Taurus will provide design of all still, including ground. Taurus said it could build a line much stronger than planned, according to the letter. It's involved fighting, blah blah blah. Yeah, I know. Either way, it's going to be a risky business. All right, let's meet with the president and then call it an episode, or meet with the mayor. Our motorcade to the meeting location set by Cortana. I'd only confidential. After a few hours of driving, we took a turn before entering Conrat. The darkness started setting in as we drove up a hill. I looked outside. I could see a giant stadium lights on the hilltop. It looked like a massive. We were nearing our destination. We arrived. The building, inspired by this, was illuminated. It was rather. I approached by Peter and Lucian. I hope the journey was comfortable. The remote location is very exclusive country club for people who value their privacy. We entered after opening the marble. The receptionist told us the meeting room upstairs was standing by. He turned around and gave us a quick look. He was a strikingly handsome man with well-groomed hair. He walked towards me with his hand reached out. I shook his hand. He had a firm grip. It was such a pleasure to meet with you in person, Mr. Krypton. I appreciate your efforts to reach out and establish a mutually beneficial. Thanks for hosting us. I admire your father very much. May he rest in peace. Welcome. Your kind words have touched me. He was indeed a great man. Please accept we are saddened. He would have been very happy to hear this from us. It's time to look forward. Let's talk about our bright future. Yes, there is much to discuss. Believe it or not, I have been a secret admirer of your political success. I find your quick rise to power was shockingly well executed. Thank you. Gently pointed. We sat down before he knocked on wood. The past month I've been tumultuous, to say the least. I am glad you and your family are unharmed at the shooting. The whole incident must have been a shock for the kids. They aren't used to what we lived through back in the late 20s. I still remember when my father took us out of the country when it became too dangerous in Conyrad. They were startled with the important they are safe and sound. Of course, no family should suffer from tragedy ever again. We had enough of that. Well, I am known to be straightforward, so let me get to the point without wasting your valuable time. It was during the campaign when I was struck by what you had done within the party. Start to look at one of the paintings on the wall. Look, I observed the painting. The famous piece depicted a giant sleeping beneath a village. The trees, rivers, hills were all part of the giant's body. Its eyes were two caves looking up at the people. It showed daylight at the far left and nighttime at the far right. The giant seemed to be watching the village. It was totally unbeknownst to the villagers. Marcel pointed his finger at me. You said we will transform this nation, Mr. Rain. My conglomerate has a way of doing things and I don't want them to change. So, I want to cooperate with you. The intent is mutual. You might but what happens when you make mistakes? Everybody makes mistakes. What's that supposed to mean? Let's hear his point, Vice President. Being a president, this means you have many enemies that could resort to anything to bring you down. Let's say these enemies caused a scandal or leaked sensitive information from the administration. These would be destructive when they were released, if they were released. Continue. Assume that the articles would actually protect your integrity. Try to imagine how up to 5 million people I reach will not lose. Try to imagine how up to 5 million people I reach will not lose faith in you. What do you want in return? I want two things. Number one is the guarantee that they won't meddle in no matter what happens. It's a simple gentleman's favor for the future. Let me prove my services to you first. I'm sure you won't disprove when the time comes. How do I know I can trust you? My circle advised against this. They don't even know we are meeting, Mr. President. We both put ourselves at risk here, but I'm willing to trust you. The question is, are you willing to trust me and accept this offer? I think he's getting more out of us than we are. The issue tied to his request must be so important to him that he's offering this risky deal. We need to be cautious. If we get caught or this gets out, I can't imagine the consequences. Marcel, so do we have a deal? Oh, I don't want to go against him, but I can't say I can't in good conscience accept this. I have to reject such a shame. And here I thought it's a shame, really. Goodbye, Mr. Cornelius. Let's leave. We left the complex and entered the car. I thought that would have ended better. He pushed it too far. The threats were unacceptable. Return. Oh, I hope that doesn't come back to bite me. I feel like I'm going to be assassinated. But that's going to be it for this episode. I keep them about 30 minutes and it seems to be doing good. So hopefully you all enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.